Mike Schaefer's hour, sponsored by Paris
Nice.
Beer
Good
Garden
to
in
see
Omaha.
Schaefer.
So, all right, Kyle McCord, let's go back to Monday, where Husker fans were having the time of their lives, because right about 4 or 5 o'clock on Monday, you thought you might get both Kyle McCord and Dylan Raiola. A couple days have gone by. A lot of rumors. Yesterday, it appears Nebraska is out on Kyle McCord. Raiola still apparently in for Nebraska. In your review, Schaefer, what exactly happened the last couple of days? What transpired with Kyle McCord?
Well, I mean, Nebraska had him on campus. It's one of those things that's really interesting that I would say yesterday morning a network source told me the visit could not have gone better for Kyle McCord.
Wonderful.
Things were going really well. And then I would say at about 5:30 last night, I got a phone call and was told the visit was actually terrible from a different network source. So I guess take what you want there. There's two entirely different people that I don't know if they were talking to each other, but they both felt like they had a connection to McCord, had heard stuff, and it called me on it. So there was that. So you have mixed messaging there. For me, a lot of it just comes down to everything was pointing in one direction up until the entry of Dylan Raiola into Nebraska's, potential graces here at the end of the recruiting cycle. And so I think things really kind of took a change for what it looks like for both Kyle McCord and Julian Fleming. I think if the Dylan Raiola thing had not happened on Monday afternoon, we'd probably be talking about Nebraska adding both of those former Buckeyes here later this week, or even right now today. So coming off of that visit. So I think there's definitely a correlation between the entrance of Dylan Raiola into the picture and the exit of Kyle McCord yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Fleming, because guys, Bill and I and Jake did not mention Fleming, but Julian Fleming probably would have come and been the number one.
Yeah, I was told, again, this was all, what's fascinating about this is how much changed between 9 a.m. yesterday morning and 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon.
Yep.
I was told yesterday morning things were looking really strong for Nebraska to end up with Kyle McCord and Julian Fleming.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we have stories written.
Yeah,
the stories were written.
Stories are written.
The amount of stuff that has not been published,
it, Bill.
that is sitting in the 24/7 sports system right now.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I
It's
just
just
say
a Control Alt
that.
Delete at this point.
I just literally say that to illustrate how. Yeah, at 10 o'clock yesterday, I was instructed. Right, hey, get something going on Fleming. Get a story in the system.
Yeah. No, the fluidity of how everything went down. We always talk about that recruiting is fluid, right? And I even, I mentioned this yesterday on my message board. On February 13th, I had put in a crystal ball for Nebraska to end up with Dylan Raiola based on what information I had at that time and what I was hearing from some people about what was happening behind the scenes. And then, and obviously that didn't work out. And then you get to December 13th, and I'm putting in a crystal ball for Dylan Raiola to end up at Nebraska. And so it's just like, things obviously can happen in a recruiting cycle, but for it to happen between 9 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 9 in the morning and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And again, I feel really good about the sourcing that I had about where things were heading for Nebraska. I understand there's a very angry fan base because they felt like they were led down the wrong direction.
Are they angry?
Based on
get Raiola?
Twitter, yes, but Twitter isn't real life.
What's the anger about?
I think the anger is that the expectation was Nebraska is going to get Kyle McCord, and they might also, and maybe probably also, get Dylan Raiola. And now there's no Kyle McCord. And to me, some of it might just be there was, from Wednesday to Wednesday, basically a week of like Kyle McCord is the guy. And if you start thinking about what that looks like for 2024, and if you look back at what it has been for Nebraska quarterback-wise, it's a pretty seismic jump from what people have watched quarterback.
Here's a question. Is it possible that McCord moving on from Nebraska had nothing to do with Dylan Raiola?
It's entirely possible. I mean, but I don't think he's going to end up at a comparable program like Nebraska.
How about money? Is he going to make as much money as he would at Nebraska?
I don't think that either.
I don't either.
So I legitimately think there is one direction where this points. Again, whether that matters, we'll find out in the fall of 2024. But for right now, it feels like there's a seismic change in what the picture looks like to me of what next season would have been.
Julian Fleming, I'm glad you mentioned him.
Yeah, I think that's a critical part of all of this.
It was big.
Because Nebraska is not linked to a lot of other wide receivers right now.
But he was not on campus, never came.
Oh, I don't think he was.
Did Fleming ever make it on campus?
I was told he was on campus.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought he was coming on campus like yesterday or something.
He was supposed to be on campus Tuesday. So
Okay.
Monday was McCord, Tuesday was Fleming.
Okay, gotcha.
So, and then I think there was a
McCord
little
ended up being
crossover
here.
when they were both here at the same time.
Yeah, McCord ended up being here Tuesday,
Okay.
too. Monday
Yeah.
and Tuesday.
So I again feel pretty good about the sourcing that Julian
Fleming
Fleming
was
was
here.
on campus.
Yeah, I think it would have been a package deal, and I think Fleming would have been the number one receiver for Nebraska.
Yeah, and I think that's another critical part of what Nebraska missed out on yesterday afternoon as this all kind of went south.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And you feel timing was a big part of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
There's
wonder
no way
what
to
this,
really push back on that.
Right.
I mean, you don't know exactly, but the first thing would be, the timing of the whole thing coming together. I mentioned Schaefer, like right now that it's like you had this magical thing out there, but just imagine like right now, if this was happening at Purdue,
Mhm.
you'd be like, what? And Purdue just won,
Kidding me,
just
yeah.
went to the Big Ten championship last year.
You'd be like, you
Last
got to
year.
be kidding me.
There's no way this can possibly happen,
Right.
right? I mean, so again, I think it was a really hard scenario, even though it had legs because one's coming to campus this weekend, other two have been on campus, so it's real. It's not just a conversation,
Right.
It's real.
But the difficulty of it, and then also, I agree with you 100%. If this would have happened weeks apart, type of thing where things were discussed, plans were worked, all those different things, probably a little bit different.
Yeah,
But
Just happened too quick.
Well, and my understanding of the Raiola thing is this doesn't even get back to like Friday of last week. We're talking like weekend, maybe even just Sunday of the emergence of Raiola in Nebraska. So it's not even like 5 days. I guess it'd be about 5 days old at this point. And so, a lot shifts in your calculus there when you're talking about a recruit that anticipates he's going to have an opportunity to compete right away when he gets here. And you're talking to a quarterback who expects he's going to be the starter. There's no way there wasn't a conversation between Nebraska and Kyle McCord last Wednesday about what the quarterback room would look like if he came there and what his competition would be for the spring.
And then,
And then Dylan Raiola enters the picture with
Right.
the expectation he's going to compete. And so,
it's a different picture.
and if we know anything about right now in the college football landscape, quarterbacks are not necessarily itching to compete against each other at these spots. That's why the portal is full of them.
Right.
That's why everyone is jumping and people are replacing other people at different places.
A lot of them want,
Assurances. They want assurance.
Yeah, I was just going to say they want, guarantees
Yeah.
is the word I was going to use. I think, Bill, is that true?
There's no coach in my mind that is going to be, I guarantee you're the starter no matter what. It's going to be the opportunities. Here's how it's going to play out. If you do the math, I mean, I think everyone in Nebraska would be hard pressed to say, just take Royal out of the picture. Kyle McCord comes here. It's like, okay, who's the starting quarterback you think for the first game next year?
It's an incredible
It'd be
philosophy
100%
question.
of what people would say. They're like, no, it's McCord. McCord, he played 12 games. He won 11 at Ohio State. He's done this. The quarterback play had some issues with that, but that's what everyone would think. It was like a slam dunk. And so, but like I said, it would just, Schaefer, you know this stuff better. Sip, you guys cover it. Jake,
I don't know that I know recruiting better than someone who literally did it for a job. So,
but it's just, like I said, you don't know, but you also don't know either what exactly it could be something else besides that.
It could.
And then
there may not have been a great fit between Kyle McCord and Nebraska personality wise.
Yeah, you don't.
I mean,
You don't know.
I don't know everything about this. Yeah. I just know that I was told one thing in the morning, and then suddenly the picture changed in the afternoon, and it was.
I have a hard time believing that it was
different
like
sourcing.
I loved it.
Yeah,
it was great. Everything's
I'm
perfect.
going elsewhere.
Because right away, like I said, when Larry Bird walked into the locker room for the 3-point contest, he's like, "Who's finishing second? What's our plan here?"
So what are you saying?
So if I'm McCord, I'd be like, I wouldn't think would care that a freshman was coming.
Yeah.
No.
It would be like
It's a five-star freshman who's a legacy.
It's like I've been in the
Right.
I've been in Ohio State's camp for like 3-4 years.
Now, if it matters, I think in that conversation, this is a 5-star who's a legacy, who's a Raiola. If it was just another guy
that might
from
be
Delaware,
Yeah.
it might not be as profound.
Well, and I think the fervor, like the just absolute
Great
fervor
word.
that
That's a good
came
word.
out on Monday of everything Dylan Raiola. And if you think about it, if you're the McCords and you're in Lincoln and all of the conversation is about this freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
And it's like you just spent, you're at Ohio State and you heard all about, was it Devin Brown?
Devin Brown.
Yeah.
And so it might just be a thing where it's like, do I want to put myself in this situation my last year where there's this guy that's going to be, everyone's just waiting for him to come in? I mean, it could just be an insecurity thing.
You know what would be fun right now? If Kyle McCord is on line 2.
Calling in.
For the show. Yeah.
Just
Well, come
lay
on,
it
Kyle.
out.
Well,
Just lay it
he's
out.
not. I wish he was.
Right.
Schaefer can probably get him. He got
The ticket has
Schaefer
different
landed-
shows. We need a portal hotline show where portal players just call in and talk about their portal experience.
that would,
Or their fathers would be
Yeah.
fine too.
yeah.
Sip tried to call Kyle and got a different
But right
player.
now,
No,
and
Derek.
plus you got to remember,
Yeah, I did.
remember there's no cell phone service in Wichita where the portal's at. It's all,
Right.
it's all on
Can't talk to
payphones.
Kyle.
It's all on payphones.
Yeah.
You call. You got to wait in line.
Well,
You got to wait in line at a
There's a
payphone.
snake of a line.
I mean, the portal would be, it's even more wild right now with the change yesterday with the injunction. So basically anything can happen transfer wise for 14 days.
I am
Well,
not
they-
aware of the injunction.
Okay, yeah.
Brief me like I'm the president.
Conjunction, junction. What's
your
your
injunction?
So there was a
function?
court decision because several attorney generals have sued the NCAA over the waiver situation because coaches had enacted the rule that they wanted a waiver, or that you got one free transfer, right? And then if you transfer again, it needs to be a waiver that's accepted by the NCAA. Well, the NCAA denied a lot of these waivers before the year. Coaches got really mad because, well, they don't want anyone else to be able to transfer more times. They want special exceptions for their specific players. So now attorney generals have sued the NCAA. So there's an injunction right now, a 14-day period going to December 27th, where if you've already transferred once, you're free to transfer again. So you can just go into the portal right now. There's no penalty to transfer, and it is going to be absolutely bonkers.
I did not hear
until
that.
this is decided. And they could extend this out through the length of a trial if that's what it goes to.
Oh, good.
So there could be no rules for transferring
Good.
for a while.
That'll be helpful.
So if you've already thought it was insane, and it has been, buckle up.
Yeah.
That'll be-
Also, with that's been said by numerous intelligent people. Like, how can you guys say they can't transfer twice? You've already said they can transfer once. This won't hold up. If it ever goes to a court, it won't hold up. Well, it finally went to a court. And then and the NCAA is like, well, we're not going to fight this. We don't want this. We can't.
So what are you saying?
Well, the NCAA is enacting the rules the coaches have put forward, and now the coaches are complaining about the rules that they have put forward. So it's like the NCAA is basically like, well, what do you want us to do?
Yeah,
Because we're going to be the punching bag for this no matter what, because people don't understand that the rules committee is made up of coaches that decide their own rules, and then the NCAA just enacts it.
Because I brought this up about when there was conversation about Prime. Would he go someplace else? And I'm like, no, I don't, because those guys can't transfer. His son, and they can't transfer. They've already had their one transfer.
Well,
Not
See,
not-
rosters.
Well, and Colorado could be a big beneficiary of this. Like, if you've already transferred once and you want to go back into the portal and everyone
that
wants
will
to meet in
that will
Colorado,
be fun to see.
there's a lot of potential multi-transfer players out there.
Fun. Rosters are fluid like diarrhea.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a description. Look at Bill's. Look at Bill's face. Look what you did to him.
I mean, it's
Fluid like diarrhea.
Wow.
Words out on these airwaves.
I mean,
today.
come on. This is getting ridiculous.
I was at First Rate Ag like 6 hours ago on vacation.
I just wish it was 1985 again.
I was
and-
like
Who
every
wouldn't be
day.
alive? Jake wouldn't be
The
alive.
best part was that there's numerous people
You pick
lost.
like 95,
numerous
so I at least can be in existence.
People lost
Yes.
eligibility like 4 years ago because someone bought them a meal at Applebee's.
well,
Think about that. And now you have this going on.
Yeah. I just wish sometimes I just wish I was covering horse racing again.
Loose horse.
You can go back to that, Sip. You can always make
Nah.
that happen again.
Be a little tough.
Yeah, I'd like to see a horse racing portal.
Uh,
Got to go
This
interview.
horse they're unhappy with its trainer.
They're all
Leave
they're
it.
all sitting around waiting. Is Churchill Downs calling? Is Churchill called me? No.
Saratoga.
Leaving for more
Yes,
sugar
Saratoga,
cubes at
yes.
a different place.
Yes.
More carrots.
Yes, it's Belmont made a call.
All right. Well, we moved on.
Belmont made a call.
We've
You better
moved
answer.
on
You
from
better
Kyle
go.
McCord.
Yes.
It's over now. Schaefer, the one thing me and Bill been wondering, Jake, where's he going now? Like where now? Where?
So the interesting thing is Monday, as he was supposed to be arriving, we started hearing that Syracuse was efforting really hard with the McCords to kind of set something up that if, it didn't go with Nebraska, they would be next in line there.
Okay.
And so I would look for him potentially visiting Syracuse, and I think it's where he's going to end up. Like, I think a lot of his options, because this thing with Nebraska and McCord seemed like it was basically going to be done,
Mhm.
his options, Mississippi State, NC State, some of these other places, have started to lock in other quarterbacks.
Right.
So he wants a Power 5 job. Like part of why the Nebraska-Ohio State thing, I think, made a lot of sense for Kyle McCord is that he'd be leaving a place that's a big-time program, going to a place that wants to be a big-time program that has all the trappings of being a big-time program.
Including the money.
Syracuse isn't going to have that. So this is why I think lot of the McCord thing is not just necessarily their decision of what has gone down, because I don't think that he wants to go play his final year at Syracuse for a new coaching staff with who knows what for teammates and their situation.
And not make $1 million.
Yeah, I mean,
but also with that, there's going to be like I didn't know about this new thing that just happened, Schaefer. But also there's going to be things happen after the bowl game. All you have to do is be in the portal now. You don't have to pick a spot.
Yep.
And you just have to be in the
portal. You just have to be in before the deadline.
Before the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, there's a chance that things happen with the bowl team. So he might be like, okay, buyer beware. Take your time here. See this thing out. But also with this, what other things you don't know, there might be a Syracuse alum that will do it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Have the money like that. It's Syracuse now. It's not
Donovan McNabb's just like, let's do this.
Let's do this thing. So it could be someone.
Yeah.
I mean, Syracuse is one of the most storied programs for broadcasting, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So there's billionaire broadcasting.
Huge journalism school.
Yeah. So there's
Mike
people,
Tirico on line one.
There's people out there that would probably be like, okay.
Rich sports writer.
But I agree with Schaefer. You want to go someplace where with him, he wants to win. He wants to be like that. Well, who's the best quarterback coach for me? Mm-hmm. Who's the best coordinator for me? Because I want to build. Because if I have this 1 year left, I'm not. Right now he has NFL aspirations.
Oh, for sure.
It's another reason why I thought that Matt Rule, as a former NFL coach, was a draw for him too.
Well, I think it was a draw.
Yeah.
I think there was
That's
a draw.
why
he wouldn't have come here if there wasn't a draw.
Again, that's why I felt confident with the crystal ball.
He was here.
All the information lined up for this to have been done.
He might have just walked right by. I mean, he was here.
Yeah.
He was here for 2 days. He was interested.